it appears as though the tide is already tying against the bandits, the Fulani militias, particularly in Kwara State, because the news coming from that axis show that the vigilante groups, the local hunters, of course the local generally, are already having upper hand against the bandits. It's a welcome development because we have seen the worst level of insecurity occasioned by Fulani militias in that axis, talking about Kwara State. But I'm going to bring you a surprise video to watch. This time around, a good number of arms and ammunition recovered from miscreants, from criminals. This time around from a strange quarter and from a strange personality. I'm talking about Naija Delta. I will not mention the name of the person who recovered the arms. I want you to watch for yourself so that you do a personal self-appraisal of what you think of what actually transpired. Because this time around, we are looking at security situation in the country holistically. Whether in the northern part of the country, the southern part of the country, anywhere it happens, we are doing an appraisal of the security situation in the country. But before we go into that video, let me bring you excitement that came from Kwara State. Of course, this one is a tweet from Instablock Naija. He's saying, 4 suspected bandits have been captured by a local vigilante group during a well-coordinated operation in the Lade district of Patigi local government area of Kwara State. A welcome development indeed, because as we have it, that area, that axis, have witnessed serious level of insecurity occasioned by Fulani militias. A situation where people have been sacked from their ancestral homes. But meanwhile, a quick one, let me show you this one as well, from the same Kwara State, a welcome development as well, saying that the locals are already registering successes or other successes against Fulani militias. This one is coming from a Twitter handle that goes by the name of Daily Economy. It's a resident foiled bandit attack in Kwara. Apprehends 7 suspects in Patigi communities. Daily Economy News. Okay, I think it's the same local government, but it's going to show that the locals in that axis, in that area, are already rising to the occasion to do the needful. Because to do the needful is to protect the community. Again, I will bring the video for you to watch now. Like I told you, it's from a strange quarter and a strange personality, though the personality is not new to issues of security. But I think for a very long time in the history of Nigeria, we have not heard such from this person in question, because one thing is certain, it doesn't matter who address insecurity. If there's genuine intention to do that, and the person is able to perhaps mop up arms, if there's any genuine intention to do that, I think it's a welcome development. But I will allow you to watch for yourself, and of course, do a personal self-appraisal by yourself. Because if actually these arms were in the wrong hands and is now recovered, it goes to show that it would have been a very bad situation for the people, particularly people in the Naija Delta, if those who had these guns in their possession were added to wreak havoc. But just watch for yourself as we come back to further this conversation.
Depending on where you're watching us from. Today we are displaying captured arms and ammunition, uniforms and core. Before the October 1st celebration, credible security information was given to us that some people were planning to carry out an October 1st type operation within the Naija Delta and at the Federal Capital Territory. So we swung into action. We effected 24 hours patrol through the length and breadth of rivers and Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom to the Cameroon border, to Ibaka, Oron, and so on. And the result was what you are seeing here.
So as you can clearly see the man aside Kubo in that video, for me, I don't have the veracity to ascertain how they did the operation, but we know that the man aside Kubo is not strange to one issue of security. This is not the first time he is involved in issue that has to do with security. But the question is, we want every inch of Nigerian territory to be safe for Nigerians, particularly the law-abiding ones, to be able to go about their lawful duties. Whether the southern part of the country, whether the northern, whether in the Naija Delta, in the southeast, in the southwest, in the middle belt, northeast, north central, everywhere. What we seek is an environment that is free, devoid of insecurity. That is where we are looking at the localities in, particularly in Kwara, in, of course, Benue, Taraba, Plateau, Zamfara, and Katsina, that the locals in that area should be empowered, particularly by the governor of the states, to enable them to do the needful. Because we understand that it will take effort of the governor to kickstart the process of the community-based policing initiative of federal government. Because it is the state governors that have what it takes to recruit personnel for the forest guard initiative of federal government. So that is why I personally am worried, because I don't know what is delaying that initiative, particularly in those areas where the activity of bandits is very high. Because for me, I was thinking that when this idea of forest guard came up, that those states like Kwara, like Katsina, Zamfara, Benue, Taraba, Plateau will jump at it with speed of light. I understand that the governor of Plateau State, Mufwang, came up with the idea of forest guard, though it was opposed by Fulani in his state. But I want to say that I don't think the issue of state police will come immediately. Though the president alluded to the fact that he's going to give attention to state police, but I don't think it will come immediately. The one that is imminent is forest guard. So why not those states key into this forest guard first? Let us see the extent to which they can address the insecurity in their respective states. If the challenge is above what I can address, we can now start looking towards state police. But for now, what we'll have is forest guard, because I understand that the federal government have since given state governments directive, or rather a nod, to start recruiting personnel for forest guard, where they were made to recruit between 2,000 and 5,000 personnel, depending on their financial capacity to pay. And one thing that is interesting in this is, before now, the state governors have agreed that they now get more money as a result of policy of federal government. So the question is, the more money they get is going to help them to in their ability to pay those personnel who will be engaged for this issue of forest guard. That is why they must do that with the speed of light. Because as far as I'm concerned, all this negotiation we are seeing in the north is not sustainable. It's just a kind of trying to postpone the evil day. And as far as I'm concerned, we are all sitting on a keg of gunpowder if we do not rise to the occasion to address this insecurity as quickly as possible. Because the more you negotiate, the more money you give them through negotiation, the more strength they gather. And the negotiation, the peace is not sustainable, as can be seen in the recent case of Zamfara State, where it was reported that a peace deal broke down, and the bandits themselves turned around to start adopting citizens, to the extent of going to the mosque to adopt citizens. So it must be addressed from that angle. And another very important angle is northern stakeholders, particularly the sheikhs, should do their due diligence, should do their job, so that even as the government try to fight those who are already radicalized, those who are already terrorists, those who are already bandits, so that those who are being given birth to now do not turn up, do not grow up to become bandits again. Because, like Sheikh Gumi and Co., should know that it behoves on them. It is their responsibility as sheikh, as opinion leaders, as those who mold the society, to ensure that they tailor the children from the region into a good part of life. Just as people have alluded to the fact that Islam is not a religion of war, that is a religion of peace. So the question is, those who go into banditry still leverage or believe or make people to believe that they are from Islam angle of religion. So if they are the one that are wrong, why are the likes of Shegumi are nowhere to be found in shaping the children from the north, to the point that they now grow up and get radicalized. And at the end of the day, the same Shegumi and his like will be telling federal government that they should not use kinetic approach to fight bandits. That they should go and negotiate with bandits. And these are people who evidence have shown that they don't have value for human life, as can be seen in different area of the activities. Because the other time, it was reported all over the media how a Toji Bello came around kidnapping or rather adopting, yes, about 50-something persons, ransom of 1 million each was placed on their head. It turned out that those who were not able to raise the ransom were disallowed one after the other. So how can you now negotiate with such person? I must say the approach and the strategy through which those Asari leaders were arrested who are currently facing prosecution is what they should deploy to crack down the lives of Toji Bello, the lives of Ada Leru, the lives of Akwashi that operates in the Faskari local government area of Katsina State. They must all be arrested to face prosecution to act as deterrent to others. Alternatively, they should be neutralized in the battlefield as well to act as deterrent to others. As far as I'm concerned, life is sacrosanct. Life is sacrosanct because as human, we don't have what it takes to create life. And if we don't have what it takes to create life, we must do everything humanly possible to protect that life. That is where I encourage the state governments to synergize with federal government and even bring the local government into it to possess a monopoly of coercive power. And as we know, the locals will not be left out because they are the one that have the intelligence to deal with all the issues. Hence, it has been established that all crime is local. So the locals must be adequately and appropriately integrated into the security architecture. Another area that is very vital and important is of course, the traditional rulers, who obviously have more authority over the people. Their role cannot be overemphasized because if it comes to the area of intelligence sharing, intelligence, information dissemination, intelligence dissemination, the locals may not have what it takes to directly relate with the relevant security agencies, but they can seamlessly relay such intelligence with their traditional rulers, who can equally seamlessly disseminate or share such intelligence with the relevant security agencies that needs them for operation to nip crime in the bud. I must say the best approach of fighting crime and criminality is intelligence that is geared towards nipping crime in the bud. Because if you arrest bandits or those who supply arms and ammunition to bandits, recover the arms, you have succeeded in preventing the crime from happening. That way, you are saving life, you are saving personnel who would have expended their energy and all it takes to fight banditry. So that is why it's good that we step up our intelligence gathering, because as far as I'm concerned, it's a necessity in fighting crime and criminality as we currently have in Nigeria. But I must say very thank you for your time. This is Sadna Mr. Martin.